You got the degree, landed the job, hit the goals you once dreamed of, and everyone around you said, you should be proud. You smiled, maybe even celebrated for a moment. But something inside felt strangely untouched, like your heart hadn't caught up with your achievements. Like success had arrived, but satisfaction had taken a different route entirely. Instead of feeling fulfilled, you felt restless. That quiet voice inside returns and whispers, not quite, keep going. So you set another goal, thinking maybe the next one will do it. Then another, and another. Keep chasing, hoping that the next version of yourself will finally feel like enough. But every time you get closer, the finish line moves again. Every step forward brings more pressure, not more peace. We rarely question that voice. We just run faster, work harder, push further, as if the problem is speed, not direction. Maybe it's because, deep down, you were taught that your worth must be earned, and you've even trying to earn it ever since. It starts to feel like chasing the horizon. Beautiful from afar, but unreachable by design. Slowly, we learned that love wasn't a given. It was a reward. We don't just fear failure. We fear being forgotten. Because the fear we carry isn't about failure. It's about being seen as not enough. Maybe it's not because you're ungrateful or lazy. It follows us, quietly shaping how we show up in the world. We stay strong when all we want is to fall apart. She checks her emails before brushing her teeth, replays yesterday's conversations in her head, and wonders constantly if she's disappointing someone without realizing it. But she doesn't know how to rest without guilt. When she's not working, she feels like she's falling behind. We do these things not because we want to, but because once we had to. We weren't growing. We were adapting. But to the messages we absorbed when we were too young to question them. Because achievement for her is not just success, it's survival. Psychologists call it conditional self-worth, the idea that your value depends on your performance, approval, or appearance. She's 31, well-educated, successful, and seemingly has it all. A good salary, stable job, a clean apartment, and a polished online presence that reflects control and confidence. Living in a body that's tired but pushing, with a heart that's full but aching. In a world that only seems to notice when you achieve. That's because the moment you fail, your entire sense of identity trembles. For people like Emily, rest feels dangerous. Not because it is, but because it was never modeled as safe. Your life becomes a game of control, not freedom. Their nervous systems are wired for survival, not belonging. If she lets her guard down, people will walk away. So that's what happens when we spend years becoming what others want. We forget how to simply be. We were taught to become enough, instead of being told we already are. We live in a world that thrives on your self-doubt and grows stronger the more insecure you feel. If she fails, even a little, everything will unravel. She was the strata student, the quiet achiever, the good daughter who never needed help, and that identity stuck. We don't just want to be accepted, we want to be enough by their standards. You'll see filtered faces, carefully curated lives, people younger than you, doing more than you, or so it seems. Everywhere you look, someone is selling you the solution to your inadequacy. A product to fix your face, your mindset, your energy, your timeline. For many of us, love didn't feel like a safe place. It felt like a performance. Buy this journal, do this breath work, sign up for this retreat. As if peace were just another transaction away. You remember who you were before they sold you the idea that you were broken. It starts not with doing more, but with doing less. Less judging, less striving, less abandoning ourselves for approval. It can't, because the moment you believe you are enough, the entire system starts to lose its grip. It's a collection of echoes, from your past, from culture, from systems designed to make you doubt yourself. To understand why we never feel good enough, we have to look back. Not just to our actions, we said, there's something wrong with me. Still carrying all the weight, and still choosing to keep going. And that counts for something. Read that again. Not as a quote, but as a reminder you forgot you needed. But now, you'll also hear a softer one. The one that's always been waiting for you to listen. You are not a problem to fix. You are a person to understand, to soften toward, to gently come home to. And you begin to shrink by comparison. That belief forms quietly, but it grows loud as we grow older. We were praised when we pleased, corrected when we cried, and ignored when we needed comfort. So we became what others needed us to be. The quiet child, the achiever, the one who didn't take up too much space. In those moments, we didn't say, "My parents are emotionally unavailable." As trauma expert Dr. Gabor wrote, "The child docenti experienced trauma as abuse or neglect. The child experiences trauma as I am not lovable." And so, as adults, we don't just chase success, we chase approval. Even when no one is judging us anymore, we judge ourselves. We smile when we're sad, we give when we're empty. And now, even though the people who made us feel that way may no longer be here, the belief still is. Let's talk about Emily. But every morning, Emily wakes up with anxiety that never really leaves. She's the kind of person who gets things done, always says yes, and is admired for her discipline. Emily learned early that praise follows performance. Now, even when no one is asking her to prove herself, she still feels the need to. She feels like if she stops being productive, she'll stop being worthy. As researcher Brown once said, when worthiness is a moving target, it's never safe to stop running. Maybe you know someone like her, or maybe you are her. What if the feeling of never being enough wasn't a flaw in your character but a pattern in your upbringing? When love feels conditional, we internalize that being accepted requires being impressive, so we start chasing validation as if it's oxygen. Dr. Kristen Neff, a leading voice in self-compassion research, says, "People who base their worth on external outcomes live in a constant state of emotional vulnerability." If your worth is built on being liked, praised, productive, or useful, then your inner peace can vanish the second those things shift. And neuroscience backs this up. Studies show that children who receive love only when they succeed develop heightened stress responses and are more prone to anxiety and perfectionism in adulthood. They grow up constantly scanning for rejection, even in safe environments. Philosopher Alan Watts once said, "The harder we try to define ourselves, the more we lose who we are." So we perform instead of connect. We impress instead of express. We chase a version of ourselves that we think will finally feel complete. But that version keeps changing. No wonder we're exhausted. No wonder we're always striving. This feeling that you're not enough isn't just personal, it's systemic. Open your phone and scroll for 30 seconds. On Instagram, everyone's beautiful. On TikTok, everyone's healing faster. On LinkedIn, everyone's getting promoted. Even if you know it's a highlight reel, your brain still reacts. It measures your worth by the illusion of someone else's peak moment. Philosopher Alain de Botton once said, "Most of what we call identity is just our attempt to conform to the expectations of others." And then there's the marketplace. Even the wellness industry is guilty. A society that profits from your insecurity will never encourage your self-acceptance. You stop buying, stop chasing, stop proving. You begin to choose instead of comply. You rest, you breathe. So how do we begin to feel enough after a lifetime of chasing, comparing, and performing? The voice inside that whispers you're not enough isn't your truth. Healing doesn't require you to become someone new. It asks you to return to who you were before you learned you had to prove anything. Dr. Kristen Neff says, "You can't grow if you think you're defective. Try this. Rest without apologizing. Cry without guilt. Breathe without explaining why you're tired. Let your existence be enough, without an audience. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not late to some invisible race that no one really wins. You are here, still trying, still showing up." Poet Nayyir Owaid once wrote, "You are enough. You are so enough. It is unbelievable how enough you are." So maybe today, you won't feel powerful. Maybe you'll still hear the voice of doubt. And maybe, just maybe, you'll believe it when it says, "You are already enough. You always were.